Okay, so we're open. We'll just wait for people to join us. Welcome everyone. We'll just wait for a few more to come on board and join us. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, and Jimmy, I see Doris joined as well.
Oh,
Doris,
hi, Doris.
can you...
Yeah, I see her. Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, and there's still people joining, but let's get started. Yeah, so Sarah, if you want to press record, and then we can get going. So hello everyone, welcome to the VNGOC informal meeting. Thanks for joining us today, and I hope that hopefully we've got both VNGOC members and other partners with us on the call. So thanks for being here and joining us. So today we're really going to focus on two main things. We want to talk about the CND and the plans for the Commission on Narcotic Drugs, which is coming up obviously next month. And I'm really pleased that we have Joe and Doris from the CND Secretariat within UNODC who are joining us today to help answer your questions. So we're going to take that part of the discussion first. And then after that, we'll have some time to talk about some of the VNGOC meetings that are coming up during the CND and around the CND, and we can talk a bit more about the AGM as well, and particularly the board elections. So I'm also really pleased we have Clement with us today, who's from the nominations committee, who can take us through the elections. So hopefully you can all see the slides on the screen. I will hide myself when I'm covering text. So just before we begin, just to let you all know, we are recording the meeting, and that's mainly so that we can make it available on our website afterwards. That's important because of time zones, not everyone can make this time of day, so we want to make sure they can still, follow the meeting afterwards. Please feel free to use the chat box if you want to introduce yourself. We'd love to hear, who you are, where you're from, and it's good to get a sense of who's joined the meeting. But if you have any questions for the speakers, particularly for UNODC, please use the Q&A box. You should hopefully see that at the bottom of your screen. A separate box called Q&A, and if you put your question in there, then it means that we can respond to it and ask it today. And we will have, as I said, we will have time for questions as we go through. And just finally to say that we have been able to provide Spanish translation today, so thank you to Paulina, who's our Spanish translator. Again, if you look on the bottom of your screen, you should see an option for interpretation, and you can select English or Spanish. So please do select one of those languages. And then if there is a question in Spanish, it will also be translated back to English if you need. So that was it in terms of just the basic kind of housekeeping. And just quickly before we start, just a very quick word to say about the NGO marketplace. Now, hopefully most of you know about the marketplace, but it's been a really successful year for the marketplace. We've had a huge increase in the number of profiles and the level of engagement. It's really designed to be kind of a database of NGOs, whether you're a VNGOC member or not. It doesn't matter. It takes just a few moments to create a profile, and it's a way to showcase the work you're doing, but also a way to kind of link up with other NGOs. So you can go on the marketplace if you're looking for a partner that works on drug prevention in Ghana. You'll be able to find that on the marketplace. So please use it and make use of it, because it's something that we've been working on for a number of years now with the UNODC civil society unit, and it's something that has improved hugely over that time, and we think we've got a really nice product here. So that was it, just in terms of introductory stuff. I just want to check, Doris, do we have Joe with us? Or...
Joe just was looking for her link to join the meeting. I forwarded mine. I hope that works. So she's trying to join.
Okay, no problem. So what I'll do, Doris.
Yes.
Just...
Can you hear
she's
me?
Here. Joe, you're with us?
Yes, I do.
Fantastic.
I'm sorry. I actually was just still looking for my link. I mean, I had originally only found the link that we had earlier, but now this should be fine.
No problem at all. No problem. So yeah, I mean, it's perfect timing anyway, Joe. We were just about to come on to the CND. So yeah, so I'd like to give the floor to Joe and Doris. As I said, Joe and Doris are both leading the CND Secretariat within UNODC. They've been a huge support to us over the last year. It's been such a difficult year, and they're both actually just freshly back from Kyoto, where they've worked so hard to deliver and successfully deliver the Kyoto Crime Congress. So we're really pleased you're with us this week and with us today. So I'll hand straight over to you, Joe, and you can talk us through kind of where we are in terms of CND preparations. And as I said, everyone can submit questions using that Q&A box. So I'll stop sharing my screen now and hand over to you. Thanks, Joe.
Well, thanks very much, Jamie, and good afternoon, good morning to everybody joining. Indeed, we are just back from Kyoto, so I know that quite some of you have also been connected through the platform, and I hope that you enjoyed that experience. But now, back in Vienna, we are fully focusing on the upcoming CND. And we are in particularly now looking into the organizational arrangements. And I can say upfront that the reason why they have not been in a way finalized yet is in the first place because of the COVID-19 situation, which is like a moving target, where we in December still were hoping that by now the situation in Austria would have improved. Unfortunately, that is not really the case. So we are in a way forced to have our format being adjusted to the situation related to the pandemic. And as most of you might know, the measures here in Austria, which are also in a way determining the way we can holding our meetings, make that it is really only limited what we can have in terms of in-person gatherings. So there is, amongst others, a requirement to keep a 2 meters distance in between seats, which makes in a way that we can only use 1/4 of our usual capacity. So based on these requirements, we have over the last couple of days made an assessment together with our colleagues in conference management on what that would really mean. And I can say that while the space in the VIC will be very, very, very limited, we are still trying to keep at least a few spaces for in-person participation, also for NGOs. That is symbolic in the sense that we believe it's very important to have you there, and that we want to give you really the opportunity to also participate from the VIC, even if that is, like it is also going to be for member states, very limited. I mean, each of the member states will also have only one person in the plenary hall, which will basically be used for the plenary proceedings and for the committee of the whole in an alternating way, because that's the only room we actually have that can accommodate enough space to give each of the member states one seat. So that will also mean that the overwhelming number of participants will be participating online. And also here, we will try to do our utmost to make sure that there is a broad variety of NGO voices that can be heard. We are going to work in the coming days very closely with Vienna NGO Committee to see on how that can best be done. And my colleague Doris can give a bit more information on how the online participation will look like. Thirdly, in terms of side events, as you have been made aware, we unfortunately cannot have any in person this year. So they will all need to happen in a virtual format, and we are also in a way preparing our website in a sense that it can accommodate the links to these various meetings to be in a way administered by the organizers. Registration for the upcoming CND will be done through Indico. That's a system that was for a couple of years already used in Geneva, and that is now rolled out throughout the UN system, the different headquarters. So there is information on how to do that on the CND website, but we can also provide some more information on this. And before I hand over to Doris, I just also want to say that one very important point is that with this in a way COVID situation, the duration.
Sorry, can I ask people to mute it while speaking? Or Sarah, could you please mute Rogers? Sarah, are you able to do that? Yeah, okay, thank you. Sorry, Joe, please carry on.
No problem. So the duration of the meeting times is in a way reduced from 3 hours to 2 hours. This is also, again, something UN system-wide. And that means that we are really going to be facing challenges again in accommodating all the speakers. And we would really also, again, try to really make an appeal to everybody to limit interventions to maximum 3 minutes. The experience also from Kyoto is that where I was in a way acting as secretary for all these meetings, that the attention span in online meetings is shorter than in in-person meetings. So in a way, everything beyond 3 minutes is also not reaching the audience. So it is really important. It pays off to really focus on getting your message across in 3 minutes. We also saw in Kyoto that it might often be a better idea to prepare a short video, as also that is often an easier way to bring a message across than in an online link. I know it loses a bit the live character, and but there seem, from what we have seen in Kyoto, also quite some advantages, and there is some merit in considering also bringing the message into or bringing your statement into a video message. So I mean, these are like what I would say the main elements of what the proposed organizational arrangements will include. There is tomorrow an extended bureau meeting tomorrow afternoon, during which the proposed organizational arrangements will be discussed. And once they are endorsed by the extended bureau, then there is likely going to be a silence procedure. And that silence procedure should normally end by Monday evening. So we will stay in very close contact with the Vienna NGO committee and keep them in the loop. And then if everything is going according to plan, we should be able to start also with registration as of mid next week. So this would be like the main messages that I can bring right now. And with your permission, Jamie, I would like to see if Doris has some additional information that she can add.
No, absolutely fine. And thank you so much, Joe. And just a reminder to everyone, please keep the questions coming in. We're trying to answer some as we go as well, just to save time. But you know, this is a good opportunity for all of you to ask questions while we have Joe and Doris. So yes, please, Doris, over to you.
Thank you very much. Maybe it's just some additional information on the main points that Joe already mentioned. On the physical participation, as she said, we'll be working with the Vienna NGO committee. Maybe I can just elaborate a little bit on the online participation. For the information of everyone, we will be using Interprefy, which a number of you will probably already remember from some of the previous sessions, including the reconvene session of the CND. And for this Interprefy, there is an overall limit of speakers that can join the platform with the interpretation in the 6 languages. And we are proposing, and we have proposed that in the organizational arrangements, to allot a quite substantial number of these speaking slots to the NGO community. And we will be working with the Vienna NGO committee on basically distributing these slots to the interested NGO participants. We have also put forward the proposal for the webcasting of the plenary hall, and this, as Joe said, we will have more information after the organizational arrangements has gone through the silent procedure and through the extended bureau. Maybe just a few additional words on the side events, as we will not have a platform that we had at our disposal in Kyoto. We will be hosting the side events through the website, because the side events are being organized by the organizers on the platform of their choice. And we will have the links ready on the website for people of the CND or everyone interested to join the individual events. And we will also provide a name and a contact detail of the organizers, so that people can get in contact with you directly if you're one of the organizers. Should there be any questions on joining or the registration, whatever procedure you have in mind. And I think, I don't know, Joe, if I forgot anything, but I think that's just some additional points from my side. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much to both of you for laying a lot of that out. And you know, as Joe and Doris both said, the situation we're in now is that the extended bureau will meet tomorrow. And then we hope to have kind of a final decision, you know, some clarity about the process early next week. And so what my advice would be to everyone is to look out next week. As soon as that confirmation is received, the VNGOC will put out a communication, probably Monday evening or maybe Tuesday morning next week, to let you know how it's going to work, to let you know how many places we have available. And you know, so next week I think is going to be a very important week in terms of processing things, applying for those places, and you know, making sure that you know, all of you on the call, but also all of your partners, that we share this information as widely as we can, so that nobody comes to the CND and feels like they've missed the process. You know, we really have to make sure we communicate it as a civil society kind of network as widely as possible. So if you click on the Q&A, you'll see that there's been some questions that we've hopefully been able to answer in writing as well. But we now have some time with Joe and Doris. So if there's any additional questions you know, I'd really encourage you to submit those now, and we can, you know, we can kind of put those on the table straight away for you. One thing I did want to ask just in the meantime, because Doris, you mentioned about the webcasting, which obviously is going to be really important, you know, for those, you know, to ensure the widest possible engagement. Given that the committee of the whole and the plenary are going to be kind of happening not at the same time this time, you know, they're taking place one after the other in the main room. Will the committee of the whole also be webcast?
Jamie, I mean, I can say that this is in a way, let's say, the proposal from the Secretariat.
Okay.
But this is something that we will have to see how member states will react to this. We will in a way make the case that I mean, we consider it as a public meeting and that it would only be, you know, closed if any member state asks for it.
Mm-hmm.
So our proposal will be to also webcast that, but ultimately we will have to see how that will be perceived by member states, because obviously having a cow which has been in a way considered as an open meeting, and it has been possible also for NGOs to come in and to basically observe the proceedings, but to have that in the week is one thing. Having it webcast might be perceived by member states as being something differently. So this is one of those things where we have to also wait to see how member states will react.
Okay. But the proposal that is currently on the table is that it will be webcast.
Yes.
That's great to know. Thank you so much, Joe. And yeah, I mean, like with everything else, we look forward to kind of hearing the outcome early next week, and you know, to see from there. And yeah, so in terms of, I mean, Lucia's submitted a question about the Indico registration. So my advice on that would be to hold off until next week when we have confirmation of the process, and then we will share the link, you know, widely with everyone so that you can all see that platform. You know, Indico registration is something, I believe, Joe and Doris, it's already been used successfully for the Crime Congress and for the Conference of Parties as well last year, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a platform that we've got a lot of experience with, and I think the UNODC Civil Society unit also have experience with now. So as soon as we have those details, Lucia, we will we'll share them and make sure that everyone has that link. But I would hold off. I suggest to hold off registering until we've managed to clarify how many places there are and the process for those places. Any other questions while we're here, either in the Q&A or I don't know if you're able to raise hands as attendees. I'm not quite sure how it works, but or in the chat. Are there any other questions? Because
Jamie,
yes.
Jamie, there seems to be a question by Esbjorn, but I mean, to be very honest, I do not know exactly what we are. Any meeting IRL?
In real life, I believe.
Okay, in person.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we already covered that. Yes.
Yeah, no, yeah. So there will. The plan is, Esbjorn, that I think with the current social distancing restrictions in Vienna, that I think, Joe, you said we can have 170 people in that main room in total. You know,
yes.
That includes member states, UN officials, and everyone else. So yeah, no, there will be an element of this meeting that is in real life, but for the vast majority of civil society, sadly, we're not going to be there in person. I think, we always knew that was, going to be the case this year because of the situation.
And if I may, Jamie, it's also the case for member states. As I said, they will only have one person per member state in the room, which is, of course, for member states, very, very, very different from what they are used to. So, yeah.
But hopefully, I think from what I'm hearing, it's slightly less restricted than for the reconvened, which I think was even less people, wasn't it, Joe, in the room?
Yeah, that was also because the reconvene took place during a period of hard lockdown in Austria. Literally everything was closed down. So that was, in a way, in terms of the situation in the host country, I mean, this was basically as strict as it could be. So in a way, it really forced the Commission to reduce in-person participation to one representative of each of the 53 members of the Commission. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that is not what was like the scenario that they would have gone for if there wouldn't have been that hard lockdown phase applied in the host country. Yeah. And again, I can only say that from a Secretariat's perspective, we can't wait until the day comes that we can again have the in-person meetings we were also used to. It will not just make your life, but also our life much easier than the circumstances in which we are working at this moment in time.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, obviously from the Vienna committee, we echo that as well. It would, you know, we're really gonna miss the opportunity to just see everyone. You know, the CND is when, as a membership, as a you know, general general assembly, it's when we come together. So yeah, we're really gonna miss that this year. But let's all just keep our fingers crossed that by March 2022, at the latest, you know, by then we're back to some kind of normality, and we can all gather again in Vienna like we used to. Okay, so last chance for any other questions, or otherwise, because I know Joe and Doris are obviously incredibly busy organising the second of 3 massive back-to-back meetings in their portfolio. So last chance for any questions. I don't know, Sarah, is there anyone with hands raised? Because I can't see the participants lists.
No, I can't see anyone with their hands raised.
Okay, so one more question just come in. So no, Ajeng, just to explain, from the side event side, you do not have to have registered or be a full participant of the CND in order to speak at a side event, because the side events are all hosted on whatever platform the individual side event organizer is using. So your participants and your speakers do not need to register through Indico. Just to clarify that, and it's a very good question, thanks for asking. Yeah, but in a way that gives us actually a lot more freedom than we would, because normally obviously if you have your side event in Vienna, we have to make sure everyone's got a pass, everyone's got access to the building, but this time there's no need to do any of those things because we are, you know, entirely online, on Zoom, on Teams, whatever platform you decide to use. Yeah, I think the key thing with side events is please make sure that the CND Secretariat have the link to your side event so that it can be shared with the member states. Okay, so Joe and Doris, once again, thank you so much. You're very welcome to stay, but I also appreciate that you're very busy, but thank you. And then what we'll do now is take a, you know, go a bit forward in terms of some of the NGOC activities at the CND or around the CND this year. And again, you know, all the way through this meeting, please use that Q&A box or the chat box to let us know if you have any questions, and we'll stop and answer them all the way through. You know, I think that's the best in terms of interactivity that we can do, because we can't unmute all, we've got 80 people on this call, we can't unmute everyone because it will be chaos. So yeah, so please do use those functions. Yeah, so the first one on the list here on the slide is the NGO briefing. Now, we normally do this on the first morning. We normally have our briefing nice and early, normally 9 AM Vienna time on the Monday of the CND. Now, because this is an online CND for most of us, as I've said, you know, the VNGOC board, and I'm really happy, I think I'm joined today by Matej and Ergin from the board. Sorry if I missed anyone else, any other board members, but we've had a lot of discussions about our plans, and you know, for us, I think what we've had to do is move all of our meetings onto online platforms as well. So the NGO briefing will be an online meeting. And I really want to actually hear from you, because we've got two options. We could still do it on Monday morning, 9 a.m. Vienna time. We could still book out an hour and have a virtual NGO briefing on Zoom, much like this meeting today. Or we could actually do it on the Friday before CND, and maybe pick a time of day, but you know, kind of closer to the middle of the day for Europe, which means that it's more accessible for colleagues from Latin America and the Americas, as well as from Asia. Unfortunately, it'll be the middle of the night for our Australasian colleagues. But you know, we have that option as well, because we're no longer tied to doing it during the CND week. But it doesn't really make too much of a difference as far as the VNGOC board, as far as our workload is concerned. It's really just to I'd be really interested to hear if there's any strong preference amongst you as the members. You know, would you prefer a Friday meeting or a Saturday meeting? Sorry, not a Saturday, that's completely out of the question. No, a Friday meeting or a Monday morning meeting. Yeah, I see comments coming through already. So, you know, please keep them coming, and it will be, you know, we'll try and, yeah, just try and see what the kind of preference might be. And we'll make an announcement and send out the link to that meeting as soon as possible. In terms of side events, we are organising alongside the UNODC Civil Society Unit. We're organising a side event on the impact of COVID, and to showcase some civil society examples of how NGOs have responded to COVID. And we're also we are hosting a side event focused on kind of consensus building in Asia. And we're also partnering on a range of side events organised by the UNODC Prevention, Treatment and Rehabilitation section. So there's an open call that's been sent out to all members, and it's available on our website and on our social media. There's an open call for speakers for those side events. I think there's 5 side events in total. So please do have a look at that. And I think the deadline for applications is the 25th. Sarah can correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I do encourage you to take a look at that as well. And we'll talk a bit more about all this later, including the informal dialogues, which I'll come on to now. So in terms of the informal dialogues, these are the Q&A sessions that we have with some of the key leaders at CND. Again, normally we're all together in a room, and it's a great opportunity for us to meet the Executive Director of UNODC and the President of INCB. This year they'll all be online, but we still wanted to do them. We still felt that it was important to carry that tradition on. And particularly for the World Health Organization one, because that actually started for the first time last year. I think it was actually a suggestion from Kenzie at one of these members' meetings to do that, and we managed to put it in place. So we didn't want to lose any momentum, and we thought it was important to keep these dialogues on the agenda. So you'll see from the slide, and let me hide myself, but you can see from the slide that we've got 2 of the dates confirmed. So we'll have a Q&A with the CND chair, which is the ambassador from Poland. We'll have a Q&A with her and also with Joe and Doris on the Thursday morning. And all these times are obviously Vienna times. We'll have a Q&A with INCB on the Friday morning. And we're still waiting to hear back in terms of dates from UNODC and WHO. They've both confirmed that they will do the Q&A. We're just trying to find the most suitable time. And yeah, the kind of process to submit your questions, that's open right now. You can follow the link. I think Sarah's put the link in the chat for us. And the deadline is the 24th. So again, next week is a very important week because we've got a lot of processes open, a lot of deadlines coming up, and potentially we've also got the application process for CND itself. So next week is a really important week to keep on top of the emails coming from the NGOC and to follow the stuff that we're trying to communicate. And yeah, obviously, please, any other questions, please just let me know. So the side events, as I said, we've got, there's actually 6 side events listed there, I apologise. And we've got the open call for speakers, as I mentioned, the link is in the chat and on the slide, and the deadline is the 25th of March. I know these deadlines are coming up soon, but it's because we have to, the board has to take the applications and to make the selections. So, you know, we need to give ourselves time to do that. Okay. And then the other call that is open at the moment, and this is something new, this is something we haven't really done before. And let me hide myself so you can see the full slide. We normally have some funding in our budget to support people to come to the CND. It's part of what we try to do at the Vienna Committee to make the CND accessible. But this year, obviously, we're not going to be investing as much in travel. So what we thought we wanted to do, was to put out a call and invite proposals from our members and from any, you know, from civil society, to invite proposals for things that you could do at the national level to kind of promote and support local partners, local NGOs to follow and engage with the CND. So, for example, this could be a watch party. You know, you could hire or work, maybe your NGO could host local partners in your city to come together that week and to follow the webcasts and to you know, follow the side events together. It might be providing packages of support to people who might need some extra support with their internet access, because watching 5 days worth of webcasts is going to eat up someone's data if they're on a limited package. So there's lots of different options as to what, and we're very open-minded as to what this might look like. And you know, we really would like to hear from you if you've got ideas about how you could, you know, put something together whereby, you know, local NGOs in Kenya or Uganda or Tanzania or Thailand, you know, can come together and still have some kind of sense of, like, you know, convening around the CND, rather than just everyone watching it on their own, in their homes, on their laptops or on their phones. So we have funding to support this as much as possible. And you know, we're not quite sure what proposals we're going to get, so we've no idea if we will actually end up making any grants. But it's something we wanted to at least offer to people to try and improve engagement and just to try and make the best of what's going to be you know, a challenging year for CND engagement. You know, and we want to try and make as many opportunities as we can. So the form is open now. You've got the link on the slide there, and I think Sarah will also share it in the chat for us. And the deadline for that is the 28th of March. So I believe that's next Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. So again, another open call that's open at the moment. And what I would say is, you know, we've tried to create the form, you know, so it's not too arduous. We don't want to burden you with, you know, too many questions, but we really want to learn about what it is you're proposing. Like, this isn't, we're not looking to provide grants here for just core funding for an organization or just to fund the day-to-day work that you do. You know, what we want here is like specific proposals to expand and promote CND engagement at the local level. So, you know, for example, I know that George in Kenya, in Nairobi, is already looking at hiring a hotel, you know, a big meeting room somewhere where people can come together and view the CND on a big screen together with good, reliable internet access. And, you know, that's the kind of thing we're thinking of here. And we'd really like to hear from you. I see, Militin, you're asking if it can be a regional proposal. I'm certainly open to that. I think that's, you know, I think obviously, you know, the main thing we want is for people to be coming together. So we'd have to make sure that whatever we do is within the local COVID restrictions. We're not encouraging any of you to break whatever the COVID rules might be in your country or in your region right now. So I think in as much as regional travel might be possible, then that's something we could consider. But I mean, we're really looking at the idea of allowing people to come together. But at the same time, if there is a regional proposal to provide local partners with improved internet access so that they can engage, then that's something we'd be open to. No guarantees, but we definitely would like to receive that proposal. We are limiting this to low and middle income countries. We just feel like that's the most, that's the fairest way to kind of allocate resources for this. And yeah, we're on hand to answer any questions you may have. Let me just check the Q&A box because I see some coming in. Yeah, so Esbjorn, in terms of the COVID-19, yeah, I mean, as I say, whatever is being planned at the local level will have to respect whatever rules there are. In some places it's social distancing, in other places you can have these small meetings. I know in a lot of African contexts that's now possible, and in a lot of Asian contexts as well. So yeah, but absolutely paramount is that we would not want to support something that violates local restrictions and local laws. And Ajahn, can it be used to provide translation? It's a great idea. Yeah, I would definitely encourage you to do something around that as well. That's something that sounds like, you know, exactly the kind of thing we could fund in order to promote kind of access to CND. So yeah, definitely interested in that proposal as well. Okay, so I'll move on. And I hope I'm going through this at an okay pace. So I'm trying to look for Paulina to check that I'm not driving her insane, the translator, but hopefully we're okay. Okay, I'm getting a thumbs up. That's good. That's good. Okay, so just moving on then, coming kind of more focused on the AGM. So again, this is going to have to be an online meeting. It's a real shame. We wish we could gather all together in person, but it's just not going to be possible for enough of us to make it work. And you know, things will look different than they normally do. I think that's going to be true for the whole of CND. But you know, the board have worked really hard to try and stay true to the spirit of how we do things, you know, and to try and adapt things as best as we can. But again, the reason we're having this meeting is because we want to hear from you. So any questions, any concerns that you may have, please do let us know. So just quickly to say that the annual report for 2020 has now been published online, and Sarah shared the link in the chat there for you. Do have a look. I mean, we'll present it formally. I'm not going to present it properly now. We'll present it formally at the AGM, as we always do. But it's available online now if you wanted to take a look. Sarah has just done an amazing job. She's so good at designing these things. It used to just be a Word document, and now she's added all these lovely graphics and colors, and it makes it so much easier to actually kind of to read. So thank you, Sarah, for doing that. You know, and in that report you'll find a summary of what we've done as the VNGOC board, and also as the committee as a whole. You know, what we've done in 2020. Particularly with speaker selection. You know, even despite COVID, we've worked really hard, and the CND Secretariat have been, you know, really supportive, and we've managed to select nearly 50 civil society speakers for 7 different meetings throughout the year. I mean, the one thing I would say, and some of you know this firsthand from experience, you know, the one thing I would say is that speaker selection is probably one of the most rewarding parts of being on the board, but also without question the hardest part. Every time we put out a call for speakers, there's never enough available slots for all the good quality submissions that we get. And I'm sure Matej and Ergin from the board will back me up on this. And you know, as a board, we've had really difficult times actually selecting speakers and coming to a consensus, but we've always managed to, which I really appreciate the board's you know, hard work on that. And it does mean, and we're fully aware, but it does mean that for some of these meetings, there have been incredibly experienced, incredibly knowledgeable, you know, and incredibly good speakers who haven't been selected. And that's from from all different organizations, from all different sectors, from all different parts of the world. And yeah, I mean, my only response to that is to say that we will just keep pushing for more and more slots, because the demand is there. There's so many NGOs that want to talk and have something valuable to say. And so, you know, we will keep pushing for more slots. But, you know, I'm relatively pleased with 2020 and the fact that we were still able to select nearly 50 speakers, you know, for various things, for webinars and the online CND meetings as well. Also in that report, you'll find the up-to-date list of members, in case that's of interest, and also some of the financial information about the VNGOC as well. So do have a look at that report if you have a moment. Again, any questions, let us know either today or you can just drop us an email at any point, and we'd be happy to kind of ask out. Okay. So that then takes us on to the AGM, as I said, which will be an online meeting this year. And so what we're proposing is to divide it into two parts. Normally the AGM, for those of you who have been to one, it's normally a maybe 2 to 3 hour meeting, normally on the Wednesday or Thursday of CND, and we all gather together in one of the big boardrooms in the Vienna International Centre. But crucially, normally the voting happens there and then live in person. And so that normally takes up a big chunk of time in the middle of the meeting. This time, as Clement is going to introduce to you, the voting will be online because everything has to be, unfortunately. So we're going to divide the AGM into two parts. So it's one AGM, but basically we open on, let me just click this slide. So we're going to open on the 8th of April. So this will be the Thursday before CND. So we're going to open then, and we felt like that was a better option than trying to do this during CND when there's always going to be clashes. People want to follow the plenary, people want to follow the cow, you know, people want to attend different side events, you know. So we thought it would be better to do it on the 8th when there's less competing stuff going on at the same time. So this will be the first part of the AGM. We'll open it, we'll do the roll call, it will be a Zoom call, I believe, Sarah, so we'll be using Zoom for this meeting again. So it will look and feel much like this one does today. We'll go through the usual agenda items. You know, we'll talk about the draft agenda, we'll approve the minutes. All of that's available on our website already. We'll formally kind of present the annual report to you all, the 2021 budget, the audit recommendations as well. So all of those need to be adopted by you, the members. There is a proposal that has been submitted by a group of members, which we will also discuss on the 8th of April. That is also available on our website at the moment. But all of the documents for this AGM will be shared with you in the next week, or in the next week or two. We'll send the whole package out to all members just to make sure that no one's missing anything. We'll have an update from UNODC, and Mirella will let us know what's been going on their side. And we'll then have, we'll then start the board election process. But one quick thing to say is on this third item, where we talk about the appointment of an auditor. So every year we rotate at least one of the auditors, and this year is going to be no different. So I'd like to use this opportunity to put a call out and to ask anyone who's interested in being our auditor for 2021 to please come forward, because it would be lovely to have someone or to know who's interested before the AGM itself. Because if we don't have anyone by the AGM, I'm just going to randomly pick from the participants list and volunteer you. But no, it would be great to have some volunteers for that role. It's a really important role. It's an important part of being a registered NGO in Austria. We have to have those independent auditors who look at our accounts. So yeah, so as Sarah says in the chat, please do let us know if you're interested. So then, yeah, the board elections, we'll basically use the AGM to give every candidate a chance to introduce themselves. This is something that we do face to face when we a normal AGM, and we felt it was important to do that again, this year. So, we'll give everyone an opportunity to say a few words. We'll have to obviously limit it in terms of time, but just to say a few words and introduce themselves ready for the elections themselves. And then before I come on to the elections, just a quick mention of membership fees. Obviously, just as always, in order to be able to vote at an AGM, you have to be what we call a member in good standing. And what that means is that you've paid your membership fee for 2021, but you've also paid it for 2020, okay? The deadline to pay your membership fees this year is the 5th of April, okay? So this is the week before CND. So this is slightly different from usual. And the reason being, normally at the CND, a lot of people like to pay in cash when they physically see us in Vienna. But that's not going to be possible this year, as you know. So we're having to process all payments online. All the details are available on our website. Sarah is available to answer any questions that you may have, either today or by email. But the deadline is the 5th of April, and we need that to happen in advance so that it gives time for payments to clear. It gives us time to troubleshoot in case there's any problems, or in case we don't have the right details for someone. Yeah, so that's the process we're going to have to follow this year. Again, trying to keep things as much as normal as we can, but recognizing and hopefully getting your understanding that things do have to look a little bit different because it's all online. And just a reminder of the fees themselves: if you earn under 10,000 euros a year, you don't have to pay a fee, but you do need to complete a commitment form. The next bracket there, 10,000 to 50,000, is a 60 euro fee, and these have been frozen again, and frozen from previous years. 50,000 to 150,000 is a 90 euro fee, and anything over 150,000 is a 120 euro fee. So hopefully that won't come as a surprise to any of you. Okay, so that's the fees. I'm just looking at the. Do I remember correctly? But yeah, so the deadline for new member organisers, I mean, obviously you can apply to join. So sorry, we've got a question from Dave Borden saying, do I remember correctly that we are past the deadline for new member organisations joining to vote this year? Yes, the deadline has passed. The main reason being that the VNGOC board, the VNGOC board had its meeting last week, and that was where we reviewed and discussed the membership proposals. Because in a lot of cases, we have to go back to them for to clarify certain things and things like this. So yeah, the deadline has passed. However, a new member organisation is free to join at any point. It's just if we get any new applications now, the board won't be able to review them until after the CND. So they won't be able to vote this year. So I hope, Dave, I hope you understand, again, why that's the case. But yes, the deadline has passed if you want to vote this year. I mean, I can see another question about the proposals, the access proposal, but I'll maybe come back to that at the end. Okay, so that's membership fees. So I think I've talked enough. So I'm going to hand over to Clement, who's going to. So Clement is one of the nominations committee that we selected at last year's AGM. They've had a very unusual task because it looks so much different than it does normally. But I'll hand over to Clement now, who can take us through how that board election process is going to work as an online process. Clement, are you still there with us?
Yes, I'm here, Jamie.
Okay, fantastic. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Jamie, and thank you so much for all the panelists that have spoken. So like Jamie rightly said, it's been extremely a different year as expected of everyone. Would have all wished we had our board elections in person, but then because of the situation, we also have to find a way to be innovative and adjust so that we can host our or have our board elections online. So when you look on the slides that is currently showing, we kind of like have a timeline on how we are going to run the board elections for this year. So each organization must select one representative to vote for the organization. and that is going to be by emailing the name and email address of the voting representative to info@vngc.org before Wednesday, 7th of April 2021. So we have to take note of the deadline for every organization to send their rep to vote for their choice of, those who are aspiring. And it's 7th April 2021, 3 p.m. Vienna time. Once you send out your representative to us, the representative is going to receive a voting key, a special voting key from the platform. We are using a particular platform called Election Runner. So as you can see, the electionrunner.com is going to be the platform we're going to use to run the elections for the 3 positions that have been declared, contestable for this year. So we like I indicated, we have a timeline for the voting, and because you're having this virtual, and also in order to have a very diverse also in terms of representation, regional representation and all that, we are not going to kind of like have it simultaneously like we always have our elections during the AGM, and that is in person. So this time we've dedicated that from the chairperson. We're going to have our first elections, that is, we are going to vote for the chairperson. That is going to take place on Monday, 12th of April, 11 a.m. We are going to have a 24-hour voting for each candidate. So the first person being the chairperson is going to run from 12th of April to 30th of April. That is from 11 a.m. to the following 10 a.m. Of the same, within that 24-hour system. Like I indicated, this is so that by the end of it, we'll be able, by the end of, say, the first 24 hours, we'll be able to know the person who has been elected for, say, the chairperson, which is going to inform people about, who then to, vote for the deputy, say, treasurer or deputy secretary. So once we are done with the voting for chairperson, automatically the platform is going to send out the results of who has been voted for as a chairperson to the representative. Then we have the following date, which is Tuesday, 30th of April, 11 a.m. to Wednesday, 4th of April, 10 a.m. We are going to vote for the deputy treasurer. By then, we already know who the chairperson is. So we are going to the representative is going to receive another different key again for voting for that particular position, which is the deputy treasurer. Then after we know who the deputy treasurer is, that is by Wednesday, 14th of April, 10 a.m., we'll be able to know. Then the next is going to be the deputy secretary, which is going to take place from 14th of April, 11 a.m. to Thursday, 15th of April, 10 a.m. Then again, we are going to have the results. Then the VNGOC AGM is going to be reconvened or resumed again on Thursday, 15th of April at 4:30 p.m. to officially, welcome our new elected board members and conclude on the AGM. So that is how it's going to run. That is how the timeline is going to run, just so that we are all able to, follow through accordingly and have different perspective on who to vote for. Can we move to the next slide? All right. So that is actually how the election runner interface looks like. That is when you click on the link that will be sent. So the designated representative will receive an individual link and voting key when the elections start, like I've already stated. You will receive a separate email for each position. That is after that 24-hour time is due. Then the next one, you're going to receive another email, which means the representative should be very, very alert and also always be in their mail to check out. Once your organization has nominated you to vote, you have to be on your email within this period of voting so that you can equally have a representation. So when you click on the link in the email, you will be directed to the VNGOC board election site. That is at www.electionrunner.com. then you can now select the candidate of your choice and click submit ballot. Like as the slide is showing, that is how it's going to look like once you click the election runner, link. Then you have the chairperson, the name of the candidate. You click on it and just submit. It's so easy, very, very seamless. It doesn't really have a lot of complication. And I know a lot of you will testify to that. We've run it and we are very sure of that. So you can now, so in the process, you can now select the candidate of your choice and click the submit ballot. After the election is over, you will receive an email with the results, like I've indicated. After each candidate has been elected, automatically the platform or the app would let you know the results in your mail. Can we move to the final? Yeah, the next slide. All right. So interestingly, we received quite a number of people wanting to be on the board for this year, and of course some meet the the eligibility for VNGOC position, including whether they are members or whether they've paid their dues and what have you. So at the end of it, we had 2 people who were successfully vetted to run for the VNGOC chair, and that is Jamie Bridge and John Remdan. So we are going to have the opportunity to read about their profile, because I mean, we'll have the opportunity to meet them, to see them and hear from them. But then we believe that having their bio or their profile would help inform your decision on who to vote for the chair. So let's move on to the next slide. I'm not going to read your profile because you all have access to it and get to read and have your own decision about who to vote for. Can we move on to the next slide? Yes. So the treasurer, interestingly, the deputy treasurer, interestingly, we had 6 people wanting to be on the board as deputy treasurer. Augusto, Alexandra, Tracy. Can we move on? We have George, Helosa, and Sanka. So these are the 6 people who have successfully been vetted to run for the deputy treasurer. Yes. We've been alerted that Tracy will withdraw her nominations. So we expect a formal notification from her, but we've been reliably informed that she will withdraw her nomination from the position. So we would actually take it from there. Yeah. All right. So
come on, who is that?
Beatrice Vaz for the deputy treasurer.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we've been informed that she will withdraw from that position. So which means we would have only like 5 people. Yeah. Can we move on to the last portfolio, which is the deputy secretary? Yes. So I think. Okay. So for the deputy secretary, we have 4 people. And like I indicated, Tracy is out, so we have 3 people. Penny, Asia, and Dr. Kawawa, the people who have so far shown interest to be our deputy secretary for the next year. So these are our successfully vetted candidates. We are very glad at least we've had people, showing up, and yeah. So we would have loved to meet all of you in person and, go around and have our ballots being casted and, collating. But unfortunately, we cannot have it. So we hope we're going to make use of it and still, get this done, because life indeed has to move on. So I think that would be it with my presentation. If there's any question, we have some of our election or nomination committee members here who can address them. So yeah, that would be it. Thank you.
Thank you, Clement. And do you mind just confirming, just so that people know, and I've also seen in the chat, messages from Eze as well, but just so people know who is on the nominations committee this year. It's yourself and.
Okay, so at the moment, the nomination committee, team includes myself, Osefeya, I know one colleague too from Uganda. Currently, we are 3 together with Sarah. So in all, we are 4.
Okay. And then, and as we see in the chat as well, Eze as well, who will add onto that group.
Sure.
And fix that as well. So thank you, Clement. So I mean, I'll just quickly flick back to the
Jamie, it's Clement.
Come on, yeah, Clement. Sorry, sorry. I'll just flick back onto this slide, just for people to see it. So yeah, I mean, any questions about that process? I mean, as Clement said, it's it's subsequent. It's 24 hours and then 23 hours and then a announcement, and then another 23 hours and then an announcement, and then a final 23 hours. Which again keeps the spirit of what we've tried to do at the AGM, where you vote one after the other for these positions. So I can't see any questions coming through. So let's move on. So then basically, once we've completed, or once the elections committee have completed that process, and those 3 different election windows have been closed, we will then reconvene the AGM for part 2. So this will be 1 week after we started. So in a way, we've got a week-long AGM, which sounds scarier than it is. But we'll reconvene on the 15th of April, which is the Thursday evening of CND. And really that will be to confirm the election results for everyone and for the records. And also to, as we would normally do at an AGM, welcome the new board members onto the platform, so to speak, as much as there is a platform on Zoom. But welcome people onto the board, and thank any board members who are stepping down. And then the only other agenda items to go through will be the nominations committee for the next year and any other business that might be raised. So I would expect that second part of the AGM will be a lot shorter than the first part. And we've kind of deliberately designed it that way, so that most of the business is done in that first part. And the one thing I would like to say, I don't believe he's on the call, but one thing just to know is that Zoran is our deputy treasurer at the moment, and he is not running for re-election. So, I just want to take this moment just to thank Zoran for his work. He's been on the board for a number of years now, and has been a wonderful colleague. Yeah, so just to put on the record, we'll do it again, obviously, at the AGM, but just to put on the record my thanks to him as well for all of his support over these years. So yeah, I mean, any other questions? We've tried to answer some in writing, and we've tried to keep a track of questions that might be coming in. But yeah, last opportunity really. Any other questions that people may have, or any concerns, or anything that wasn't clear? No, I can't see anything coming through. Okay. Oh, we have a question. So a question from Eva is saying, where can we see the presentations of the nominees? So maybe Sarah, could you help us out with that? At what point will people be able to see the full kind of descriptions for each of those nominees? I assume that's going to be sent out to everyone.
We'll send that out next week with the formal communications from the nominations board, like usual, and the links to the different profiles, whatever the candidates have submitted in their nominations. Okay, brilliant. So Eva, you should see that next week. If for any reason that doesn't come through, please let us know, and we'll make sure that it comes over to you. They'll also be online. We try to keep everything on our online as well. So yeah, but thank you for the question. And Sela, where can we get the link to register for meetings? I think the links were on the slides. The slides will be available on the VNGOC website, and I believe Sarah's also been posting them in the chat. But we will make sure that that we send these links out. This next 2 or 3 weeks, it's really important that we as the Vienna committee are communicating everything as well as possible to our members. So we'll keep sending those links out, and making sure everyone has them.
And then, sorry, Lucas is asking for the first slide with the dates and hours. So let me just flick back to that. I assume you mean for the elections, Lucas. So is this the one? Lucas, is this one you were after? Yeah, okay, brilliant. So I can keep that up there if people want to see it. But as I said, the recording from today and the slides will be available on our website in case there's anything you missed or you just want to note down any of the dates. But you know, in essence, you've got a 23-hour period Monday to vote for the chair, 23-hour period on Tuesday to vote for the deputy treasurer, and 23-hour period on Wednesday to vote for the deputy secretary. And then on Thursday, we reconvene for the AGM and confirm the new board. Okay. I'm going to end it there. I can't see any other questions coming in. So look, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you to my fellow board members for being here. Thank you to the election committee, the nominations committee, for all of their hard work and for presenting, you know, those things today as well. There's a lot of information here. So if there's any questions, or if you're watching this after the live event and you have questions, info@vngoc.org. You know, please let us know, and myself or Sarah or one of the board can get back to you straight away. We really want to try and make this, you know, to try and answer questions. We don't want people going away not understanding, but there is a lot of information, and we do appreciate that. Okay, thank you so much, and thank you, Sarah, for everything behind the scenes to make this work as always. And we will see you all soon. Well, see you virtually soon. So thank you very much. Goodbye, everyone.